The ducks insist on walking themselves to the waterhole. There is a smaller creek that leads to a secret big blue pool, and they love to splash and play on the way, excited for what is to come. Happy and Snug the ducks are a few months old now, and we like to take them for a swim in the stream at least once a week. Happy, the small white duck, can never contain her excitement, flying in circles with so much joy. There is a fallen rainforest tree that is like a magical bridge to another world, but the ducks take the easier route, swimming underneath. Finally, we reach the big blue pool, surrounded by palm trees and highlighted by sun. The ducks love it here and swim fast into the deep water. Sometimes I worry that they'll love it too much and they'll run away. But they always swim back into my arms, their little tails waggling, excited to share this moment of joy with me. To have animals trust you like this is so incredible, to communicate without words. Looking into the eyes of a tiny duck and understanding their quacks of excitement or the way that they bob their head to say I love you. These tiny companions following me through the rainforest. They like to swim for hours, so I find a palm tree to sit in and I watch them as they play. The morning is my favourite time on the farm. Everyone is so sleepy and cuddly, the warm winter sun slowly spreading to each ridge and valley. Where I burned my ankle so bad it was changing colours for the duration of one of the best adventures we had. The goats are slow to wake, but once they are up, they have so much energy and they bounce down the hill, wondering what paddock they'll go to and which tree in the orchard is full of ripe fruit. Every goat has an entirely unique character. Maggie is cheeky and loves sour fruit. Moth pretends to be tough but is actually the softest soul. Nymph is confident, cuddly, and has no fear, and Bird is goofy and mellow. Moonbeam knows how adorable she is and uses it to get scratches behind the ear, and Paisley is a bit more shy and gets embarrassed easily. But if you get past her barriers, she'll sit next to you in the paddock and she'll stare into your eyes with so much love as she gets her favourite pats. This is probably the goats' favourite paddock at this time of year. There are starfruit trees throughout the orchard, and they have learned to climb the trees to find them. This morning routine never gets old, wandering through the hills with a flock of goats by my side, harvesting fruit to take home and feeling the sun on my face.
Yourself it all. Yum! And then the first one's up at me. Making me your oasis, your water. rotten one.
Mosaic man,
Oh, you've eaten so much it's yours now.
jagged edges cutting through the palm of my hand every time that I reach toward you.
This is a bush lemon, which is basically the same as a normal lemon, except that they are a lot more tough and hardy. They grow wild in the Australian subtropics and are naturalised to this climate. This means that they can successfully reproduce and establish themselves, but aren't invasive like other species that can do the same. They are thorny and bumpy and rough, but their flavour is incredible, and I like them more than a normal lemon.
Maybe roads will cross, or maybe that's only a dream.
This is a native plum to the rainforest. They are super sour and they make the best jams and sauces. The trees grow super tall through the canopy, and then the fruit falls to the forest floor, slowly throughout a long season. It's always exciting to be walking past and spot a few of these special plums on the ground. We got a call from a friend that 5 ducklings in her neighbourhood had been abandoned by their mother. She had tried everything. She tried leading them back to the mama duck, but she wouldn't take them back. So she tried to call the local wildlife centre, but they couldn't get any local carers to take them on because they were all travelling or retired. It was a super cold night and ducklings need warmth to survive, so our friend called us and asked if we could take them on. We quickly picked them up and brought them home and cared for them, making sure that they were warm and chopping up grass and food like we were the mama duck.
Meet the newest members of our big animal family. These little guys were abandoned by their mum, and they're actually wild ducks that are an Australian wood duck, and they are so sweet. I've been trying desperately to contact the local wildlife conservation people that can take them on, and I can't get anyone. My stress is just that I don't know exactly how to care for native Australian animals. I do know how to raise domestic ducks, and they're quite similar it seems, so I'm feeling less stressed now. Hey! And I've got lots of advice from everyone.
After a few days of caring for these adorable fluff balls, we found someone who could take them on, who is trained in raising native wildlife. It was sad to see them go, but so lovely to see them go to someone who really knows how to care for them. The carer was really inspiring, and she actually convinced me to get my training to become a local wildlife carer myself. The thousands of magical fruit trees were planted by our grandparents and parents, and every day as we learn to tend them and plant more, we are reminded of the power of planting a single seed. While our dad and grandparents are no longer here, we are grateful to still be nurtured by the meaning of their actions, the trees that they planted, and the land that they cared for. Last year, we wrote a memoir full of stories of the rainforest, its fruit, and our journey of learning to care for the land. You can buy it by following the link in our description.
It's almost the middle of winter here, and although in the daytime it doesn't feel like it, ooh, the garden is starting to show. There's not much really growing at the moment. Everything's kind of died off and the garden's looking a bit bare, so I think I should start giving it a bit of a makeover. So I'm planning to do a bit of a makeover on the garden and kind of just get it back together, because in this season it's so much easier to weed everything and plant new things, and then in the springtime I'll see so much growth. So that's the plan, but I'll give you a little tour of the garden to see how it is right now. This is my banana patch, which is going so well and I'm so proud of. I'm really excited by them all. They're growing quite a bit, and I got fruit off the one just there a week ago, and there's lots of different types. These are dwarf Cavendish, and then those ones are ladyfingers. I've also got papayas growing, and this section of the garden feels really good. I'm really happy with how it's turning out, whereas the other section of the garden is a bit of a mess. And look, my papaya has flowers on it, so maybe it'll grow fruit soon, which is really exciting. And hopefully they won't go moldy like most of our papaya fruit does. Fingers crossed. But honestly, this section of the garden is kind of how I want the whole garden to be eventually. I think I'm really proud of this section because it's using syntropic practices and just growing things that are really good for this climate and focusing on easy things to grow, which is both easy for me and for the earth. This is the absolute dream. You've got bananas at the back, and bananas slowly walk themselves up the hill. They create suckers, and then if you slowly put them up the hill, they kind of walk their way up, so they'll continue pushing up. And then on the ground I have ground covers, so I've got sweet potato there, I've got purple sweet potato here, I've got papaya trees here, more bananas. This is cassava, which I'm so excited about because we use a lot of tapioca flour, and because we're gluten-free, so it will be, I'm very excited to harvest it. I think you harvest the tuber? I'm not even sure, I've never grown it before, but it's growing quite a lot, it's growing quite fast, so that's exciting. And then obviously papaya, and then I've got strawberries as a ground cover here. And then this, I think, is an Australian native blue eye something. It's got these little cute flowers, and it's really cute as well, and it's like a good kind of, it spreads across the ground and keeps the soil moist, because at this time of year it's really dry, so all of a sudden the soil dries out crazily even though it's been so wet all summer, and then it just stops raining and everything gets really dry, so you have to remember to water the garden, which I'm not used to because we get rain so often. And that's a farmer's friend, which is a weed. There's a lot of weeds in here. We then have this side of the garden which has more bananas, but these are actually plantain bananas, which are more used for cooking. So that's going to be really fun because I feel like we would get really into plantain in food. I think I'm going to put it in everything once we have some fruit. And then this is taro, we think. But there's a lot of different species that look really alike, and some of them are poisonous. So we're kind of too scared to eat it, but it has, like, we could. It's got big root systems, or I think they're like tubers or something that you eat the bottoms of, and they're supposed to be really delicious and really healthy for you, but we're a little too scared. So if anyone knows if this is taro, we've been told by quite a few people that it probably definitely is, but the thing is that I don't trust probably definitely in the case of poisonous food, so I'm not really brave enough to eat it unless I get a definite answer. This season is definitely my favourite for growing in the garden because it's so much simpler. There's way less weeds and the soil's just easier to work with in general, I think. But also I've got a lot of dahlias planted that have died off, and now the tubers are in the soil, and last year I just left them in the soil and then they came up again, which was really good. But this year I've started digging a few up because if you dig them then you can divide them and then make more dahlias. So then I can have a garden filled with dahlias, which is kind of the dream. So these are the dahlia tubers, and I'm worried that I've wrecked them. I started pulling them up when the soil was still really wet because it was still really wet all the time, but now I've hit the dry season. I think this is maybe a better time to bring them up while the soil's dry, but I'm scared I damaged these ones because they're like a bit rotten and they kind of all crumbled, and I know that they have to like keep the, I think the top part of it like here, but like that's coming off, so I hope they'll be okay. I also don't know how to divide them. There's supposed to be a way that you can divide them and make more, but I don't know how. Oh, there's a little spider on this one. Like, these ones have no heads, I think they're called. So does that mean that these ones are not going to grow? Because that's really sad. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I probably should have just left them in the soil again, because in this climate it never freezes, or like we don't even get frosts really. So I think then it's fine and they can't be damaged in the soil. But I was just worried because it was so wet in the soil that they would rot. Maybe that is what happened. I don't know.
Thank you so much to our patrons. Your contribution helps us to plant trees, clear invasive weeds, and care for the earth.